The night was silent, except for the soft hum of the ship drifting between the stars. In the control room, a single light glowed faintly on the console. Ethan sat there, staring at the empty void through the window, lost in thoughts he couldn't name. It had been weeks since the last transmission from Earth. Loneliness had settled over him like a slow fog. He thought he was alone until she arrived. He didn't hear her steps. He only felt the warmth of her presence before he saw her reflection on the glass. Her silver hair shimmered like moonlight. Her eyes were deep blue, bright but calm, and they seemed to hold the quiet sadness of a whole galaxy. She didn't say anything at first. She just looked at him, then at the stars. He turned, unsure if he was dreaming again. Her name was Lyra. He had met her once, on the ruins of a fallen colony, and she had vanished without a word. Now here she was, on his ship. Ethan tried to speak, but his throat tightened. There were 1,000 questions burning inside him, but none found their way out. She stepped closer, the soft light tracing the edge of her cheek, the curve of her lips. The air seemed to thicken between them. He could hear his own heartbeat echoing in the silence. Lyra rested her hand gently on his chest. Her touch was cool at first, then slowly warmer, like sunlight breaking through the dark. He froze. Her smile was soft, yet it carried something fierce beneath it. It was a smile that said she already knew what he felt. She looked up at him, her expression unreadable, and for a moment he forgot how to breathe. She smiled like she owned him already, and maybe she did. He wanted to move, to speak, to ask her why she had come back, but he couldn't. Her presence filled the room, soft but overwhelming. There was a faint hum beneath her skin, an energy he couldn't name. It wasn't human. She didn't try to hide it. Her voice, when it came, was calm and low, each word flowing like a song. She told him the truth he had feared to hear. The war wasn't over. The Council had betrayed the Alliance, and the humans were next. He felt the weight of it sink into his chest, but her hand didn't leave him. Her eyes didn't break away. She said she had come not as an enemy, but as someone who remembered his kindness, his courage, his loneliness on that ruined world. He didn't know if he could trust her. He wanted to, but every lesson from the war whispered caution. Yet her hand stayed there, steady and alive, and something inside him shifted. The silence between them turned electric. She spoke of the stars burning out in distant systems, of worlds falling under control, of voices silenced before they could cry for help. She said she couldn't stand it anymore. She said she needed him. Not his command, not his weapon, but him. The human heart that refused to give up. He wanted to believe her, and that scared him more than the war itself. He asked her what she wanted from him. She looked down for a moment, then met his eyes again. Her answer wasn't words, but movement. She leaned forward until her forehead touched his. The faint hum of the ship faded away. All he could hear was her quiet breath against his lips. She whispered that she had crossed light years to find him, not to save the universe, but to save something smaller, something only he carried. He didn't know what that meant, not yet. She pulled back just enough to look at him again. Her hand was still on his chest, feeling the slow, steady beat of his heart. She said it was proof that humans could still feel in a galaxy that had forgotten how. Then she smiled again, softer this time, like she didn't want him to see the sadness behind it. He reached up, slowly, almost afraid she would disappear again. His fingers brushed hers, and she didn't pull away. The room felt smaller now, like the universe outside had folded into that single space between them. Lyra told him there was a way to fight back, a secret the Council didn't want humans to know. She had stolen it, and now others were hunting her. She said she couldn't do it alone. She needed his help, but more than that, she needed his faith. For the first time in months, Ethan felt something other than emptiness. It wasn't hope, not yet, but it was close. He asked her why him. She smiled again, that dangerous little smile that stopped the world. She said because he was the only one who didn't see her as a weapon or a threat. He saw her as someone who could still be saved. The words hit him harder than any battle he'd fought. He realized then that this was no dream. This was the edge of something real, something fragile and vast. She took his hand and pressed it against her own heart. It beat faster than his. She said that every time she had tried to forget him, it grew louder, until she couldn't bear it anymore. So she came back. Outside, the stars drifted past, silent witnesses to their fragile truth. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt like the universe wasn't empty. Maybe it was never meant to be. Maybe it only needed someone brave enough to feel again. And as she stood there, her hands still on his chest, smiling like she already knew the ending, he realized that whatever happened next, he wouldn't face it alone.